All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is time. Yes, it is time once again for the BFTAA and More show. I am your host, Louis George Walker, and I am so glad to be with you today. Yes. We're going to have a great time. It has been a great day, and, we're just enjoying life. Yeah, it's feeling pretty good in Kansas City right now. I got to get some of this out of my way. But yeah, this is the BFTAA and More show. It is a product of the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center and the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. They come together to form this radio station, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom, better known as KUAW Radio, right here in the heart of Kansas City, Missouri, and we're broadcasting 24 hours a day. You can pick us up live when we do videos on Facebook and on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter. We're out there, so be sure and tell your friends to like us, click on it, like this station, so every time we go live with the different shows that come on, you'll get notified to it. Also, you can listen to us 24 hours a day on TuneIn, on my radio tuner, the online radio box, and on, there's one more, Radio Garden. So all of those places you can find us on the internet. The easiest way to get us is go into your internet and type in KUAW Radio, and you can pick us up. On Facebook, we're KUAW dash radio. On YouTube, it's KUAW Radio. And on Twitter, it's KUAW underscore radio. So you can pick us up on all those formats. We'll be glad that you did. Like this page, tell your friends about it, tell them about things that are going on here, and then listen to our audio side that broadcasts 24 hours a day online. So, you can pick us up all around the world, not just in Kansas City, but in Kansas City, Kansas, Topeka, Wichita. Yes, we like to be out in all of those places. Well, we've got a show lined up for you today. We're getting into the late part of spring, getting ready to roll into summer. The weather's getting a little warm and humid as it is normally at this time in Kansas City, but that's all right. We can make it through it and we can enjoy ourselves in it. So we're glad that you're coming along for the ride today. Now, the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, which is a group that we started back in 2004 with employees from the African American Employees Group Community Network, from the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center, from Sprint Corporation, the Sprint Diamonds, and from the Black Data Processing Association, BDPA, all came together to form an organization or to form an event committee that put on the first Black Family Technology Awareness Week in Kansas City. We started in 2004. We decided to get our own 501c3 and create this organization, the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. We work very closely with Tyrone Taborn and Career Communications Group in Baltimore, Maryland, as part of the Black Family Network. So we've been around. The Black Family Network is still around, and there's chapters across the country. We're looking to contact with some more of them that we've been, up and down and doing things, but we're still here and we're still going and growing. And our goal is to help close that digital divide that exists between the African American community and technology. We're trying to get kids and families into that STEM pipeline to see how you can improve your standard of living, improve your life by using this technology, by getting into the sciences, technology, engineering, and mathematics. STEM is the acronym that they use for it, but it encompasses all the sciences. It's not just about computers stuff. It's about neuroscience. It's about architecture, mechanical science, electrical science. All of those different sciences are all part of STEM. So we definitely want to get our kids involved in those careers in that STEM field so that they can be the innovators and the creators of tomorrow. The world needs more and more innovators, and if we don't get the people in our community to help contribute, then there's a huge gap of knowledge, of brain power that's not being used. And we don't have any minds, as it says on one of our organizations, a mine is a terrible thing to waste. So we don't want to waste any mines out there. But, there's a lot of things going on. Summertime's coming up. I'm going to talk to you about some events or how to find events for your kids this summer. The Black Family Technology Awareness Association is going to be getting prepared for the fall. We're not really planning to do much this summer as we get things together. We've had to work rebuilding, remodeling our center down at the W.E.B. Du Bois Learning Center. So we're basically going to be retooling and getting things ready for the upcoming school year. We'll probably have some workshops and some events that we'll participate in and that you can come to, or you can join us virtually. But we're not going to hold a summer camp or anything like that this year. So, but we do have information that we're going to give you later about that. One thing we do on here, though, is we always want to keep encouraging our young people to get involved in STEM. That is the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And in order to do that, they've got to learn and be exposed to it. So we always bring you what's going on at NASA. That's the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, one of the premier research and development organizations in the United States government is NASA. So we bring what's going on there. There are a lot of opportunities there, and people can see the actual uses of this technology and of the innovation that's going on and things that will soon be part of our everyday life. A lot of times people say, well, going to the moon and going to do all of those things doesn't do us any good. But the innovation, the design work that goes into developing the vehicles that go through space, that technology and stuff comes back to everyday living. A lot of the things that we use today are through that. I mean, how many of us haven't used a GPS? Well, if we never did try to go into space, if we never did launch rockets and stuff, you wouldn't have a GPS system. The global positioning system relies on satellites up in space, so those are things that we're getting real uses of right now that came from people wanting to do more and wanting to stretch the limits of man's ability here. So we go through that, and I want to right now bring you a little bit of what's going on at NASA. That's why I'm sitting to one side. I'm trying to figure out how I can do these screens and not interrupt you or your view all the time where I'm coming in and out of it. So we're going to go with what's going on this week at NASA.
In addition to a future commercial crew mission, our administrator discusses the budget request for NASA, and NASA's deputy administrator nominee appears before the Senate. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. NASA astronaut KUAW has been assigned to our SpaceX Crew 3 mission to the International Space Station, expected to launch as early as October 23rd. She will join NASA's Tom Marshburn and Roger Shari, and European Space Agency astronaut Matthias Maurer. This is SpaceX's third crew rotation mission to the station for our commercial crew program. NASA Administrator Senator Bill Nelson testified during a May 19th virtual House hearing on the President's fiscal year 2022 budget request for the agency. The $24.7 billion funding request supports a wide range of NASA programs and activities.
This is an exciting time for NASA. We are having a lot of things happen. Just in this next year, we launched the largest, most powerful rocket ever, the SLS, in its first maiden flight. If that were not exciting enough, later in the year, we're going to launch the James Webb Telescope, which is going to replace the incredible Hubble Space Telescope. It will peer out into space, capturing the light from far distant galaxies.
He also pointed to other upcoming milestones for the agency in science, STEM education, aeronautics, and more. On May 20th, former NASA astronaut Pam Melroy, the President's nominee to be NASA's next deputy administrator, appeared before the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation during a confirmation hearing on Capitol Hill.
I've worked in aerospace for my entire career and have experience in each of NASA's 4 mission areas. If confirmed, I'm ready to help Administrator Nelson lead and manage NASA on day one.
Melroy, a veteran of 3 space flights, logged more than 38 days in space, and is one of only 2 women to command the space shuttle. On May 20th, engineers at our Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, wrapped up the latest series of water impact drop tests for NASA's Orion spacecraft. The test series was designed to provide a better understanding of what Orion and its crew may experience during splashdown water landings at the end of future Artemis moon missions. Data from the tests are also used to help verify that Orion fulfills structural design requirements ahead of Artemis 2, our first Artemis mission to the moon with astronauts. Engineers at our Stennis Space Center conducted an RS-25 engine test on May 20th, continuing the latest test series in support of development and production of these engines. 4 RS-25s will power our Space Launch System rocket during future Artemis missions, including flights that will land the first woman and first person of color on the moon. NASA recently flight tested the Airborne Location Integrating Geospatial Navigation System, or ALINES, in preparation for future acoustic validation flights of our X-59 quiet supersonic technology airplane. ALINES will help a chase aircraft outfitted to gather acoustic data on these supersonic flights move into various positions relative to the X-59 to collect the most accurate data. These acoustic validation flights are designed to confirm that the sonic thump created by X-59 during flight is as quiet as it's designed to be and not as loud as a typical sonic boom. Our Advanced Air Mobility National Campaign wrapped up another round of integrated dry run testing at our Armstrong Flight Research Center in California, using a helicopter as a stand-in for an urban air mobility vehicle. These future vehicles might transport people or cargo in the airspaces over urban areas. NASA, the Federal Aviation Administration, and partner companies are combining efforts to create a safe new air transportation system for these vehicles. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, follow us on the web at nasa.gov/twan.
All right. Yeah, that's what's going on in NASA. Looks interesting. So all those little drones that you've been seeing the kids fly and play around with, they're now planning larger scales that'll be carrying people. That just shows you how innovation, how technology moves. You know, you think of one thing as a toy, and before long, it's maybe something that's going to be involved in everyday life. So that's a great thing, you know. So your kids playing with drones is not necessarily a bad thing, especially if they can learn how to build them, how to fly them right. So there's a whole career lined up in that. So let your kids experiment, let them learn and work with different things. So that they can expand their minds, you know. Don't stop a lot of that. I know it can really raise, you know, a lot of things when they tear up something or they take things apart and they can't get it back together. But that curiosity and that experimentation is a good thing. Now, like I say, you don't want them to tear up your best stuff, but you know, a child that likes to take things apart, likes to see how things work, is showing some curiosity and maybe some aptitude that could be real beneficial through all their life, and that's great. Yeah, they talked about that. They talked about the new plane that can fly supersonic without the sonic boom being as loud. And a lot of you may not remember, but when I was young, they had first started breaking the sound barrier, and they used to fly over Kansas City, and you'd hear sonic booms. It was nothing to be outside and a plane go over, and man, those things would rattle your windows. I mean, the sonic boom was loud. That's why when they built the Concorde, which was a supersonic transport plane, it only flew over the ocean from London to New York at supersonic speed. It just couldn't fly over populated areas because there's a boom that comes along with that. So they're designing a plane now that will fly at supersonic speed, that's faster than the speed of sound, but not produce as loud a supersonic boom. They didn't say it'd be silent, but they said not as loud. So that could be a big boon for air travel when you think about it, because if you can go faster, right now their planes are flying, I don't know, maybe around 300-400 miles an hour. Well, if you could double that, you know, you could fly across country in an hour and a half from Kansas City to LA, maybe an hour or less. It's faster. It would be more efficient for you that way, saving you time on travel. So it could have some beneficial effects. Although at the same time, you say burning a lot of gas going that fast in the air is not being green. And we also have to be very cognizant of that we do want to protect the earth and protect the atmosphere. And those are things that flying a lot of planes fast or slow kind of goes against being green. But, there's a certain amount of technology that we still have to use, we still have to work with, and that science and innovation has to still figure out how to clean up the air and clean up the world. And that's the thing that we need more minds working on. We need more engineers, we need more scientists. So we get back to that again. Now we're going to go into a little bit more from NASA, and then we're going to talk a little bit about your health. I've got a new newsletter that I've been getting, and I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but just talk a little bit about it. But I've had some friends that have been ill recently, and there's some that have passed away, and a lot of it has to do with not taking care of your health. I mean, we're all going to die at some point, but you want to live as full a life and as healthy of a life as possible. So we're going to talk about that. But right now, I'm going to try this again. I did it last week, and hopefully I can do it again. Is to bring you from the internet. This is NASA's podcast called Space to Ground. It covers some of the same things that we saw on this, but some of it's a little different. So I've been thinking that, okay, let's run a little of this. These are a lot of programs and podcasts that the government creates, so it's paid for with your tax dollars, and we need to enjoy them, watch them, learn from them. There's a lot of money put out for education and research that we need to take advantage of. We need to be setting our kids down to read some of the publications. We need to look at some of this stuff ourselves, because the government spends a lot of money, a lot of our money, on getting information out there to you. And a lot of times we don't take advantage of the information that, I won't say it's free, because if you work and paid taxes, you've already bought it. But then sometimes we don't use what we've already paid for. You have millions of dollars, and we don't use it. It's already out there. A lot of education is free and available, and we let it go by. We miss it. It's just like going to the library. The library is a great resource. You can learn about any subject, anything in the world. You can educate yourself to no ends at the library, and it's free. You can just go in there and you can pick out books. You can read them. You can take them home, you sign up for it, because it's being paid for out of our taxes, which is saying that we value education, we value information, and we want to make it available to all people at no cost, that you don't want dollars and cents to be a barrier. So a lot of parents don't use it, and you should use the library, because that's a great resource. Okay, let me see if I can find this next video that I want to show you. I think, there it is right there. Okay, so we're going to listen now to Space to Ground. This is a broadcast from NASA, and it's going to start right now, I think. As soon as I thought, there it goes. Let me get out of your way. Or maybe it's going to start. Now we've got... Okay. There we are.
Houston Station on Space to Ground.
Welcome to Space to Ground. I'm Kayla LaFrance. From science experiments and in-flight maintenance, the crew on board the space station has been hard at work this week. JAXA astronaut Aki Hoshide donned a biomonitor earlier this week to be a participant in the Canadian Space Agency's vascular aging study. The biomonitor is a wearable technology system designed to look and feel as comfortable as a typical snug t-shirt. But in reality, it is actually monitoring the wearer's heart rate, activity level, and breathing rate. The data gathered from the biomonitor, along with data from ultrasounds and blood tests, will be sent back to researchers as part of the vascular aging experiment, which is the third of a series of scientific experiments that studies the effects of weightlessness on astronauts' blood vessels and hearts on board the International Space Station. The vascular aging study is looking at issues known to pose risks to astronauts' health, like radiation and insulin resistance. Studying the responses of the cardiovascular system in space better equips us to understand how our arteries age here on Earth. On Monday, NASA announced the fourth and final member for the upcoming NASA SpaceX Crew 3 mission to the ISS. NASA astronaut Caleb Barron was selected to serve as a mission specialist for the Crew 3 mission, which is targeted to launch as early as October 23rd. Barron will be joining crew members, NASA astronauts Raja Chari and Tom Marshburn as the mission's commander and pilot respectively, and European Space Agency astronaut Matthias Maurer, who will also serve as a mission specialist. This will be the first spaceflight for Barron, who became a NASA astronaut in January 2020 after completing 2 years of training. This week's question comes from Ashlyn, a 5th grader from New York, who wanted to know, what happens to garbage on the ISS? That is a great question. There is no trash pickup in space, which means that the crew has to store their trash in special bags called jettison stowage bags. After a cargo vehicle arrives at the station, the crew will load it with all of their trash bags, foam cushions, and other items to be removed. These vehicles will depart filled with thousands of pounds of disposable items, ultimately burning up in the atmosphere during re-entry. The NanoRacks Bishop airlock, which was recently installed on station, also has the ability to jettison trash right from the orbiting lab to be burned up in the atmosphere. And that's Space to Ground for this week. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
All right. Yeah, Space to Ground. Well, that's kind of interesting. What am I froze up? You can't see me moving? That's not good. Let's see. All the time when we do some of these things. There we go. Yes. Hocus pocus, I'm back. Yeah. The computer sometimes gets a little haywire with that. Hey, that was kind of interesting. One thing I kind of thought they're sending all this trash to be burned up in the atmosphere. Now, they don't let us burn trash here on Earth. Now, we have to dispose of it, solid waste disposal and all of that. But they're burning it up. Why come we can't burn it up down here on the ground if they can take thousands of pounds and burn it up in the atmosphere? But, that's what you used to do, is take the trash out and set fire to it so that it burned up. Looks like everything old is new again. But, yeah, that's what's going on up in space. So they've got a new crew that's going up to the International Space Station, which is always a good thing. Let me see if I can get my camera together. There we go. So there's a new crew headed to the space station, and that's what ISS is, International Space Station. That's why you'll hear those initials of the ISS. And that's been becoming more routine. It's, people going up to space, going to the space station. There's no real big thing about it. We talk about it, but it's become pretty mundane to where it used to be a big thing that we were going into space, and now we're getting more and more used to traveling in outer space and it being a thing that is just normal. And I think that is good because, it should become normal as we look to expand our footprint in the galaxies, as we continue to move, to grow, and to extend mankind farther and farther. Well, there's a couple of things, and before I talk about the health, as we were talking about STEM, I had the opportunity last week. We left out of here last Saturday and flew to Arizona, went to Tucson, Arizona, University of Arizona in Tucson. and I was able to attend my granddaughter's graduation. So we got a new STEM scientist, and I was so proud of her. So I want to extend that right now and say, congratulations, Nyla. Nyla Walker is now a new neuroscientist. She graduated with a BA degree from the University of Arizona in Tucson, and congratulations. This is your grandpa. I am really proud of you and just glad that you've got that. Now it's on to bigger and better things in life. So yes, I am a proud grandfather, and I have to let the world know it. And she's been working hard at it, really doing good things, and I hope that the world just gives her more of what she's seeking, in life. So that's a good thing. Now, there's a new, well, it's not new, it's new subscription that I've got to the Mayo Clinic's health letter. And they just sent that to me. I was trying to decide if I was going to keep it or not. And I guess I'll try it for a year and see if I want to read this much health stuff all the time. I kind of like reading some technical stuff, but some of the health stuff is, sometimes harder to read. But at my age, you want to take care of your health as much as you can. And really at all ages, you should be wanting to take care of your health to the best of your ability. Sometimes when we're young, we neglect it. We neglect our checkups and things that we should be doing, and that's not good. So I want to talk to young people, old people alike. Get checkups. Go to the doctor. Go to a clinic if you don't have a private doctor, but get some checkups. Find out how your blood pressure is. Find out how your body is working, because sometimes being ahead of the game is good, that you don't wait until you're so bad you got to go in the emergency room and that's the first time you see a doctor, is that you meet your doctor in the emergency room. So go to doctors, go get checkups. If you don't have enough funds or insurance, there are still health clinics and a health department in Kansas City where you can still get a checkup, or you can get referred to a place to get you a checkup. These are things that you just have to do. You don't want to leave here early, and you want your quality of life to be good, because some people say, well, you won't die until your time. And that's true. Your time may be set that you won't die before your time, but what's your quality of life until the time you die? Do you want to be able to walk around, to be able to do things? Because just being alive is not always a great, doesn't look as great. I haven't never been there, but if you're just in a bed in a vegetative state, you may not have died yet. You're waiting on your time to come, but you're not really participating in life anymore. So get your health checked out. One of the things that they had was a talk about blood pressure. And blood pressure is known as that silent killer. And that's because having high blood pressure the blood pressure itself doesn't kill you. Like they didn't say, well, he died from high blood pressure a lot of times, but you'll die from things that are caused by having high blood pressure. High blood pressure can affect your internal organs and your veins and stuff, so that they go into a condition that can be life-threatening. They don't say it's high blood pressure. They're saying you got kidney failure, or that you had a stroke, or you had something else. But a lot of that is brought on by the high blood pressure. And blood pressure you need. Your blood has to have some pressure to get pumped around your body. High blood pressure, though, is when it's got too much pressure. Either you're holding too much fluids, or, genetic problems. It could be something in your family, but you may not know it until you've already had some damage done to your internal organs or to your veins themselves, that if you go to the doctor and find out that you've got it, at least you can maybe change your lifestyle and do some things to make it better. So we want to take care of our health. Your blood pressure numbers, you get those two of them. The first number, or the big number, is 120, 128, something like that. That's when your heart is actually pumping blood. And then that bottom number that they give you, that 70 or 80 or whatever number it is on the low end, is when your heart isn't pumping. Like when it squeezes together, that's high, that's blood pressure going out, that's the pressure. But when it goes back like a relaxed state, then there's still pressure in there, and they measure that pressure on your veins when your heart's not pumping something out. So those are the two numbers, and sometimes if it's not genetic, it could be lifestyles that give us high blood pressure, reducing our salt intake, eating healthy in general. I was able to lose some weight. I went to the doctor and my cholesterol was up. And at first he said, well, we may have to put you on some pills. I asked if there was anything I could do to keep from going on the pills. And he said, well, we don't know for sure, but you can try exercising, losing some weight, eating right, losing some weight. And they also talked about a supplement that I could take. It was red rice yeast. But I did that. I lost over 10 pounds, or lost about 10 pounds between the 2 months that he saw me and he wanted to see me again. And my cholesterol numbers were good, were within normal range. Losing some weight, doing a little, and I've got to do even more exercise. Continue to try and eat right. While we were out of town, I told my wife it's hard to eat right when you go into this type of celebration. So I kind of fell off the wagon while we were out there in Arizona. And during times of holidays, of picnics and all of that, it's going to really be, I have to make a conscious effort to try and eat right. I like sweets, and I maybe put too much on my plate at times. So I've got to make a conscious effort to do things a little bit better. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I urge everybody to do. So that is a part of science, technology, and engineering is medical health. So if you want to be involved in STEM, one of the good ways to be is the science of taking care of your body. The science of the fuel that you put in your body, the exercise that your body gets and stuff, that is STEM. So I'm working on that, and hopefully I can be around here and be able to move, to function, to participate in life as long as possible. I know I'll leave one day, but I'm not rushing it. All right, so that's been a couple of the things on the STEM side. Now, another thing is we're into May, the month of May, and as we're coming to the end of May, we go into Memorial Day. Memorial Day comes up May the 31st, and it's a holiday where it was originally formed for memorial of dead soldiers from the Civil War. It was a day to mark that, a national day of mourning for those that were lost during the Civil War. There's a lot of, I read at one time, and I don't remember right now exactly how it got started, but it did pertain to the soldiers that were lost in that war. And then from the Civil War, they moved it on to a memorial for all of our war dead, for all of our veterans, all of those. That Memorial Day is a time to recognize those that have died in service to America or while in uniform. That's the main reason. We do now recognize all of our dead. Most families will go to the cemetery for people that were in the service or not in the service. That's what Memorial Day is about. It's almost a national day of remembering the dead. We call it, sometimes when other people talk about days of the dead, we don't say, oh, well, that's kind of weird. But we're memorializing those that are dead, that are gone, and remembering them. And one of the things that happened then that's in American history, and they're going to be commemorating over this Memorial Day, is on May 31st, in 1921 and through to June 1st, there was what was called the Tulsa Massacre, or sometimes the Tulsa Race Riot. But it was in Tulsa where the majority white population came down on the black section of town, and numbers are varied, but there is upwards of 300 African Americans were killed on that day, or in 2 days, 31st and the 1st. This is the 100-year anniversary of that occurrence. A lot of it was hidden for years. We weren't told about it. Even people that lived in Tulsa and in Oklahoma didn't know about the race riot. It was kind of a cover-up, or after it was over with, some of those in leadership and stuff maybe felt a little ashamed, or that it wasn't a thing that they wanted to be known for. So it was kind of swept under the rug. But there was a huge loss of life. And we need to commemorate them, and they're setting up a special days that they're going to be doing that down in Tulsa. You may not go to Tulsa, you don't have to go down there for the race riot, but you can set aside a little time while you're memorializing your family, and as you memorialize soldiers that have lost their lives, but to think of the residents of the Greenwood area of Tulsa and those that lost their lives. Innocent people, women, children. 300 people were killed. They were attacked by the population of the city. They were attacked, some say, for being prosperous, for being living as good or better than their white counterparts. Their homes were looted. Their businesses were robbed. Yes, it was a disaster. It was a thing. And the bad thing about it is it wasn't an isolated incident. It was something that happened in a lot of major and not so major cities in the early part of the 20th century, the 1920s, where Black people were trying to live the American dream. They weren't too far from slavery. Some were very vividly remembering times of being slaves and had started bringing themselves together. But time and again, in places where they did, they were attacked, and this was lost. Land was stolen. Lives were lost. People were lynched. Is a part of American history that America doesn't talk a lot about, but we need to remember, and we need to commemorate those people, those at maybe 300. 10,000 people were left homeless after it. This was a whole community. It wasn't like it was on 1 or 2 or 3 blocks. I think it was 12 square blocks or so that were literally destroyed. Everything burnt. And you talk about riots or lawlessness now. Then that was, and no one went to jail. You have a riot in Kansas City or a protest in Kansas City that maybe nobody gets killed, and a lot of people get locked up. A lot of these things happen, and if the police and authorities weren't involved, they definitely looked the other way while it happened, because through all of that rioting, 300 and something people dead, houses looted and burned and stuff, nobody's arrested. Nobody white was arrested. And that happened in a lot of cities and counties in America. So on this May 31st, take a second, a moment of silence for the victims of the Tulsa Massacre and for all race massacres that have went on in this country. There's things that have went on outside of this country, but it's something that we should not forget. Not something that we are proud of, but it's definitely nothing for us to be ashamed of, or nothing for us to hide from. We, as they say, you know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You need to know what happened. You need to know what was going on in America, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and the people that suffered at the hands of their neighbors and sometimes at the hands of the authorities. So it's not a new phenomenon that's happening. It's something that has happened again and again. So we want to remember that, remember what went on in Tulsa at that time. Okay, so we'll break away from that. I got a call last night. I want to remind you of that. So we'll change the subject, rewind it back. We'll get back into the STEM world. Okay, hey, how you doing? I had a friend of mine that called me up, and she was looking for a STEM program or a summer program in science. She said she's got her grandkids in some reading, some math stuff, but she was looking for science for her kids through the summer, or for her grandkids through the summer. And boy, last night I was drawing a blank. I said, I don't know. And the kids are young. They're relatively young, I think 5 and 6 years old. As the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, we generally have been working programs that work from 9 years old through 18. And that is, what we could do with the resources that we have. But that's not to say that at 5 years old is too early to bring kids into STEM. No, there are STEM classes and STEM learning that is directed toward preschoolers. So you can always start kids in using their minds, being creative and innovative and thinking in terms of science and technology and stuff, that even at that early age, that can be beneficial to them. So I didn't have anything. And a good friend of mine, William Wells at Esteem Village, I went to his webpage and looked at some stuff and didn't find anything. So I told her, I said, well, you might try Science City. They have some things, and I don't know if they work with kids that young. And then I thought another resource that we have that kind of brings a lot of this together, because I can't do all the legwork for everybody, but the Kansas City STEM Alliance, that's kind of, I don't know if it's a part or located on Truce, is a look like I froze up again. Man, this is something that not gonna be happening on a regular basis. I don't know if you guys don't see me moving, and I'm talking to you now. Let's see if I can restart this camera and find out what's going on here. This is not something that's been happening every day. Brand new thing that is going on. So I don't have a lot of resources working. I'll have to work on my computer and see what's going on that might be causing it to freeze up. But the Kansas City STEM Alliance, they have a calendar, they have a page for educators, for parents in the community, and for students. There's tabs that you can go into, and they list a lot of the programs that are going to be happening this summer all around the city and the suburbs. Kansas City STEM Alliance has a great resource for finding where there are some STEM activities that you may get your kids involved in. So I sent that link to her, and she's going to check it out. Matter of fact, I think I can bring it up now if it doesn't freeze me again. Let's see what I can do with that. Okay, this is the Kansas City STEM Alliance page. Or this is the start of it. Let me see if I can get to where I can work with that with you here. There we go. So if you go to KC STEM Alliance, this is Summer Fun with STEM. Explore camp options now. So if you want to find that, that's on the KC STEM Alliance page. You got to go in a couple of pages to get there. I don't remember. That's not on their first loading page. I think it may be. But you click on that, and it will actually take you to the summer camps page. And you can see, here's an overview of Metro Summer Camp. So this is telling you some of the things, and you may get more details, visit their page. University of Missouri, Kansas City, they're having some camp invention in a semi-virtual format. Get details, you just click on the link. Also, the Metropolitan Community College for Kids. So it says due to COVID-19. So all of these, COVID-19 is still, everybody's not moved into, let's go back to working on things. Here's a STEAM Village. Yeah, that's William Wells there. The STEAM Village is having summer camps for grades 3 through 12. So that still doesn't reach her at the 5 and 6 year old level. But as you see, Barstow has summer camps. It says they have more than 75 STEM-themed camps starting May the 24th. So they're going to be starting today with theirs and stuff. Burns and McDonald, Engineering U. They've got it. It's for high school students. Camp Invention, Code Ninjas. Just there's a ton of things going on around the city. There's a lot of organizations involved. Playwell Technologies, that offers Lego-inspired STEM summer camps in Kansas City, as well as in other locations across Kansas and Missouri. That's something to look at. Oh, well, I was talking about Science City. It says Science City summer camps are canceled for 2021. So that wasn't a big help. And they did do ages 6 And that's what I was thinking. They work with some younger kids, but not this year. So STEM is still causing us problems. So Science City will work with children as young as 6 years old, which is great, but not this year. And there's some that are, and a lot of them are doing virtual. So you can find out camps across Missouri and Kansas. You can find out the dates that these camps start. All of that is on the KC STEM Alliance's page. So that is a resource. We are the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, and we are associated with the KC STEM Alliance. We are a member of that STEM Alliance. So use the resource. It's out there for us. All right, that's the end of the show today. I hope that you've got some information that you can use, that it'll be beneficial for you. And I don't know if I'll come back frozen or not. No, I'm not. I'm moving, yeah. So yeah. Okay, but thank you for joining. This has been the BFTAA and More show. I am your host, Louis George Walker. I'm the president of the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, and so glad that you could join us. Stay tuned at 6 o'clock. We're going to have Shifting Paradigms with B. Michael. And continue to listen to KUAW Radio. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out online, because we're on 24 hours a day. So tell your friends, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Twitter. You know, we want to get those numbers up. So we need you to tell your friends about it and like our pages. Also visit us on our audio only sides on the TuneIn app, on My Tuner Box or My Tuner, and on the online radio box. All of those are online sites that you can get. We are an internet radio station, and we're all over the internet. So thank you for joining. We'll see you next week on the BFTAA and More show. Have a good day.